welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends with the local real estate investor, Steve Smith. And in the last segment, we were talking about this referral process where you will actually give a minimum of $500 to people who refer a house to. Tell them again, how does it work?
Well, it works very easily. You just call me up and say, hey, listen, I have a friend who needs to sell a house. Here's the friend's number. And you're done. I would just take it from there. I'd reach out to the friend, find out more information, and hopefully I can work out a deal where I can buy the house. If I can, great. Then I would just basically give you the money. Usually I give $1,000. I only made it $500 because sometimes I've gotten referrals that weren't that great, so at least it gave me some, you know. But typically $1,000. So I would buy the house, give you your money, and you go on about your way, and hopefully find me another house.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a way to be, you know, to gain an income. Yeah, you better believe it.
Sure.
So, you know, so as you're thinking about people who want to sell houses and they're not sure who to sell it to, definitely give him a call. I mean, that's the part, the sale has to happen. So it's not like, oh, here's this house on my block and the sale doesn't happen. No, obviously you're not going to get $500 for that.
Right.
The sale has to take place.
Sure, it does. And just going to what you just said a moment ago, probably, I think kind of the niche that a lot of us real estate investors fall in is we make things really convenient for you. So I could think of a woman, you know, kind of getting up in age, and she just wanted to sell her house, and she just wanted this to be done, basically. So her daughter, I think, it was her daughter who knew me, played matchmaker. And I did everything from soup to nuts. I got people to move her things to her new place, and you know, just trying to be any situation, any way I can help, I would do it. You know, so it's probably the most convenient way to sell a house.
Okay. You know, as I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm thinking about, in the first segment we talked about where you came from, working with numbers, and now doing the real estate piece, and how it just gives you so much more life when you talk about it. And you know, on the show we always talk about passion and purpose. When did you know that you were passionate about this? How did you know that this was your purpose, and why do you say it's your purpose?
Wait, I'm kind of chuckling to myself because you said where I came from, being a numbers person. Because the common question I'm asked is, hey, you know, you used to be an actuary, you used to do all kinds of hardcore calculations and everything. I bet you that helps a lot in what you do now. And I'm like, yeah, but right now I'm just like, you know, plus, minus. And the spreadsheet program does that. So I'm, you know, so yeah, anyway. What was the question again?
So passion and purpose. When did you know that this was what you were passionate about?
I will say this, that I imagine there are other things I could be passionate about, but I find what brings the passion out of me with real estate is that I really feel that I'm doing a service for a lot of people. I feel, back to the rent to own thing, I really feel that I'm converting tenants into homeowners, people who've always wanted to own homes. I'm able to help them with that. And all across the, you know, I just think about people who want to sell. I can help with that. I really feel that I'm helping. I'm kind of doing a good for the community. I sense that. You know, and this is why I refer people to you. This is why I reach out to you when I need help. And I think it's so important because when people are living their passion and their purpose, when they're passionate about what they're doing, you see that there's a value add to society. And that's what you're talking about right now. This is a value add for you. And in the different ways, so as a landlord, as a property manager, but where I really hear it and sense it in you is in this rent to own piece. Yeah, I mean, I guess because it's, I would say the most hands-on, well, I won't say the most hands-on, but it's a prolonged relationship. With a lot of the houses that I will, oftentimes what I'll do is I find a house, I will sign a contract with the owner, but since I know people who like to do rehab, I'll just kind of play matchmaker, and then I'll just leave and let the person continue from there. That's a pretty short-term thing. It's called wholesaling, by the way. But comparing it to rent to own, I'm actually, I feel more, I can do more because I'm actually interacting with my client, who's the rent to own person, for 2 years, maybe 3 years, something like that. And along the line, I mean, I got to see the birth of their child and all those things with the one couple. It, you know, I feel like I'm really doing some good. I matched them up with a financial analyst person because I kind of felt that they probably could use some guidance with that
Yeah.
and planning for the future since they're only in their 20s.
Yes.
So there's a lot more I can do with the rent zone. So maybe that's why you
Yeah.
hear more.
Yeah. And it's so important because these are things that most of us don't learn in school.
True.
You know, we don't learn how to buy a house. I don't know how to do that. I have to.
Shame on the schools.
Yeah, I mean, this is some of the stuff that we need. It's the practical life skills, and I mean, many of us have been through many educational programs and good education, but it's
And
just
still didn't
not
get it.
talked about. Right?
Yeah.
It's not talked about. And then who do you turn to? It's like even with buying a car. I had a friend who her husband was who I bought my cars from, and it was that idea of trusting someone that you believe they're not trying to get over, not just trying to get a commission from you, that you can actually learn something from, and again, that you can refer them,
True.
refer somebody else to them.
True. I mean, the older I've gotten, I've realized it's all about relationships.
Yes.
So that's kind of what you're speaking to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as we get ready to wrap up, let's just kind of go back through some of the ways that you can think of that people can get involved in real estate.
Okay. Well, I would, I guess the most common entry points for real estate, the things that draw people, either they want to be a landlord because people are familiar with that because they're used to being tenants themselves. So that's one entry point. But then there's all these TV shows that have proliferated that do like flip this house, and I guess
Yes.
I don't know, might not be on TV anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, those style of shows. So people want to buy a house and totally remake the house and sell it. That's another way of getting in. But really, what I would encourage people to do is kind of do a bit of self-evaluation.
Okay.
Because, and I find that when people come to me saying, "Hey, I want to get in real estate. What do I, how do I do that?" I tend to kind of interview them because I want to find out what type of person you are, because depending on your set of characteristics will dictate which way you should go.
Okay.
You might be the kind of person that'll fix up a house and do it. Or you might be the kind of person who's like, "Nah, I don't want to do that because that's too much peopling. I want something easy." There's something for you too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we have the rent to own, we have landlord, we have buy and flip,
And
property manager.
yeah, and then there's all kinds of other things too. Like there are people who will buy and sell not houses, mortgages. Because you ever think when you buy a house, there's some giblet mortgage company who basically you're going to be with, and 5 minutes later you get another letter saying, "Hey, we're your new mortgage person."
Yes.
Well, that's because that first mortgage company sold it to the second mortgage company.
Oh.
And there are people who make a good living seeking out mortgages that are actually in distress, where the person might be behind. And what they'll do is they'll go to that mortgage company and say, "Hey, listen, I'll give you $5 for that mortgage," or I'm exaggerating. And they'll buy the mortgage at a discount because the first mortgage company is like, "Well, you know what, I'm done." And they'll sell it to the second mortgage person. And it actually could be an investor like you,
Right.
because sometimes these mortgages are really small. So they'll sell it, and because they sold it at such a discount, the new mortgage company, they're like, "Wow, I can cut your payments."
Wow.
And they'll cut the payments, and the person can stay in the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, as far as with selling houses, buying houses, is there a certain time of year, certain seasons that are better than others?
At a retail level, yes. They say the best time to sell is in the spring because that's when people are looking, because it kind of follows the school year. But for someone like me, where if I'm selling a house, typically it's either to a rent-to-own person, and that's
Okay.
whenever they're ready.
Yes.
Or it's another investor who wants to rehab the house. It doesn't really matter for someone like me.
Okay.
Because I'm removed from the retail, part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and all of the tips and tricks that we have learned today. Every time I talk to him, I learn something more. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
So we look forward to seeing you again. Until we meet again, continue to live your greatest life. God bless.